Okay, well, congratulations. You have gotten through the myriad of videos that there were to go through for this week. And I think that this week might feel like it's one of the most overwhelming. I hope it does feel like it doesn't get any more overwhelming than this week. It's really important to introduce you to all the basic tools. We've done select, we've done rectangle, line, circle, polygon, move, push, pull, rotate, and all of our navigation tools. So we've covered quite a bit, but these really are the fundamentals. And we're going to use most of these tools in the homework. So what I want to do is I want to walk you through the homework step by step. This first homework is really just about getting you comfortable with all of these basic tools. So there's really no creativity whatsoever to it, it's not a very exciting homework, but it's essential to me that you know how to use every one of these tools, and this is a way that we can kind of quantify that. So I've got the homework printed out and I've got it next to me, and I'm going to go through each step. I'm not going to read every single line, but I'm going to go through each step and I'm going to demonstrate exactly how I would do the homework. Okay? So the first thing that we have to do is we have to make a rectangle on the field that is 6 feet by 8 feet. So I'm going to use my rectangle tool to do that. So I click once on this point. I'll start with the origin point, again, like I have so far, and I'm going to type in 6 feet, comma, 8 feet, enter. And then I'm going to group it immediately, because that's what I always do. So I double click, and I right click, and I make this into a group. All right. We've basically covered part A of the first point of the homework. Now I need to make a copy. So I go to my move tool, because this is also my copy tool, and I click on a point. Let's get a little closer here. Zoom in a little bit, pan over. So I'm going to go to my move tool, and I'm going to click on this point, and I'm going to hit my copy button, which is, for me, the option button, alt button. Okay, start dragging it along the red axis, and in the homework it says type 16 feet. This will give me a rectangle that is now 10 feet away. So I'm going to type 16 feet, enter. So now I've got 10 feet from this point to this point. All right, so that is step 1 of the homework already completed. Step 2, let's make this rectangle here into a 3-dimensional shape. To do that, I go to my select tool. I double click on this, excuse me. I double click on this shape to open it up, and I go to my push pull, and I'm going to select that and click once on this face to start it. We're wanting to make this 4 foot 6 inches high. So I'm going to type in 4 feet 6, enter. Notice I didn't click to finish that command. All right, so we've done with step 2. So I'm going to go ahead and select out in space to close that group. All right, what's step 3? Make a copy of this new box. Go ahead and select that box, go to my move tool, click once on the move button, and this time I'm going to drag it 8 feet away by typing 14 feet instead of 16 feet. So let's click once on this endpoint, copy it, drag it without clicking again, and type 8 feet, enter. Oh, I'm sorry, 14 feet, enter. So it's kind of good that I made that mistake, because it was a way of showing you that even if you type in the wrong thing, unless you've clicked again, you can still type in a new distance. So I typed in my 14 feet after I typed in my 8 feet. So pretend I didn't type the 8 feet to begin with. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line dividing the top face of this new box. So let me go ahead and get myself in a position where I can see that new box really clearly. Let's go ahead and open this up by double-clicking on it double-clicking on this 3D shape with the select tool. So click, click to open it up. Now I'm going to draw a line from the midpoint of the top face of one of these lines. So I click on this point here and find the midpoint, click from that point, drag it across the red axis until I hit that other midpoint, and click with my left click one more time. That has now basically finished step, what are we on? Step 4. All right. Let's go ahead and close that by clicking on the select tool and click out in space. I'm going to zoom back a little bit. All right, time to make a copy of this box. This should be getting a little familiar at this point. Go ahead and go to my select tool, select this box, go to my move tool, click once on the endpoint of this corner, hit my copy button, drag it along the red axis, and this time I'm typing 10 feet, enter. Okay, now I'm going to push, pull one face up and one face down. So I'm on step 6. So let's go ahead and get ourselves in a position where we can really see this shape by panning, zooming into it. I'm going to use my select tool to open this up, and I'm going to use the push-pull tool to push one face up and one face down. So I go to my push-pull. I'll start with the front face. I'm going to click once, and I'm going to bring this face down. So this face, we're going to bring down, let's see, under E it says 1 foot 8. So I'm going to type 1 foot 8. Enter. Brought that face down 1 foot 8 inches. Next step is to push a face up. So I'm going to click on this back face once, start pulling it up without clicking again on my mouse, and I'm going to type 16, enter. That's basically raised it 16 inches up in space. All right, go ahead and close this one down. Close. Step 7 is to repeat step 5. So we're making another copy of this one. So I'm going to click on this. And this isn't exactly the way it says it in the instructions, but I want to show you a different way you can. If I'm going to repeat the exact same copy, I'm going to use my move tool here, and I'm going to use this as a reference point. So I'm going to click from this point, I'm going to hit my copy button, and then I'm going to drag it all the way until I get to this point, and I'm using this as a reference. Click. So what I've just done is I've created the exact same space between these two shapes as there are between these two shapes. All right. Now comes what I think is probably going to be the hardest part of the homework, which is rotating this new shape 90 degrees along its middle axis. So let's move this a little bit so that I can get into a nice view of it. I'm going to go to my rotate tool, click once on the rotate tool. Whoops, I'm sorry. This is my rotate tool here, right under move. I'm going to hold this. I'm going to put the tool on the face that I want to use as an axis reference point. So in this case, I want to rotate it along its blue axis here. So I'm going to hold shift down while I've got it on this face. I'm not clicking again. I just want to show you that if I hold shift down, it forces the rotate tool to stay along that, to use that face as a reference. I'm going to find that midpoint of that group right there, of that line, and I'm going to click once on it. Okay, I can take my hand off the shift key now because I've already established where the first click is going to be. Now I'm going to drag my mouse along without clicking again along the red axis. Once I've determined that I'm on the red axis, I can click again on that axis and begin moving the mouse towards me so that I'm rotating it towards me, or if I wanted to, I could rotate it away from me. Doesn't matter, it's very arbitrary. But what I do know is that I want it to be 90 degrees. So I can do it in one of two ways. I can rotate it until it pops to the 90 degrees, or while I'm rotating it, I can just type in 90, enter. Okay? That's gonna get me for step that's step 8. We're already almost completely done. Okay, I'm gonna do an Apple Z here because in this case, as I look at the last page of the homework, I see that I've rotated it in a different direction. So for the sake of making it easy, I'm gonna do this one more time. I'm gonna click on that middle point. I'm gonna click out in space here, and I'm gonna drag it. I'm gonna rotate it towards me this time, 90. This is just to avoid any confusion because I do want it to look somewhat like the homework, the final picture looks. All right. So I'm now at one of my last steps where again I have to make a copy of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and select this shape. I'm going to go to my move tool. I'm going to start from this point, and I'm going to hit my copy button and drag it. And again, I want to do 10 feet. So 10 feet, enter. Okay, we're almost at the end. Go ahead and hit my pan tool, and I'm going to move this so that I can see this a little better. And I'm going to orbit a little bit so that I can see maybe in a more of an axonometric view this way so I can see where I'm going. Because what I'm going to do for my last is I'm going to create multiple copies of this, and I'm going to move this from one point to another to make basically like a series of kind of steps of a sort. All right, so I'm going to go to my move tool, and I'm going to start. So we're on step 10 here. I'm going to start with my bottom corner, click once on that point, hit my copy button, and I'm referencing it to this point here because I want to duplicate this exact same relationship so that it continues up in that direction. I click once, and I want 3 additional copies from my original copy. So if I want 3 more copies, so that'll give me 4 total when all is said and done, without clicking or doing anything else, I hit X3, enter. Now let's go ahead and zoom extends here so we can see the whole thing. And again, I'm going to orbit a little bit and maybe zoom out a little bit more. So what I've just created is 1, 2, 3 more of that same shape moving up in space, and I've used this point to reference to that point, and that's what gives me that set of steps. Here we are, and we've basically completed the homework. Well, not basically. We have completed the homework. So if you were able to do this and create this file successfully, go ahead and save it. Use the naming convention on the cover of the homework, and you're finished with homework 1. It's that simple. We're going to get a little bit more advanced next week, but get comfortable with this. If you feel comfortable, I would say keep moving with just playing around. You can't make enough shapes. You can't group enough. You can't get comfortable enough with all of the basic things I've shown you. So don't feel like you have to just stop here. But I would say don't worry about doing anything more advanced than this. I promise you that's coming. Thanks a lot, and any questions, obviously contact me through Blackboard or through email, and I will handle them this week.